Welcome back to the studio. I'm Wyatt. This is Josh. I'm not wearing a do-rag. And we just finished watching episode 3 of House of the Dragon. Um, this was an interesting episode, a heavy episode.
Yeah, it definitely felt different from the first two. The first one was a setup. I feel like there's no doubt in anybody's mind who
Mhm.
should be king or who should be queen. It's clear both sides just want their individual to be king or queen.
We definitely got clarity in this episode at the end with the conversation between Rhaenyra and Alicent. What did you think of the content up to of this episode? We had some stuff with Damon. We had some
Yeah.
stuff with Rhaenyra and Rhaenys and the nieces and like everybody.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit from everybody. Even at the end, Aemond and the
Aegon.
king
Mhm.
Aegon, the two brothers, I guess setting up kind of a brother conflict here.
Yeah, and
Is that
content warning for this episode. Geez,
yeah,
we got some graphic stuff.
and usually you're like, "Okay, it's night, we're going to a brothel,
Right.
we're gonna see something,
You
close your
kinda
eyes."
know kinda
But it
you
was,
kinda
like,
know what to expect,
out of
yeah.
nowhere, just,
Yeah, it
like,
was pretty
tear down the
graphic with
veil,
this
and
one.
it's all there.
So feel free to skip ahead when they get to
Yeah.
the brothel scene. They kinda linger on that shot, I feel like a little bit too long.
What do you think where Damon's at right now? Something clearly is happening with
Damon's in
Damon.
an interesting place
Yeah.
because clearly he's coming off of that conversation with, Rhaenyra in the previous episode,
Mhm.
and he gets to Harrenhal, and the guy there first of all, addresses him as, my prince, and he corrects him and says, "Your grace."
Yeah.
That was a
Shows a lot
particular
for Damon.
particular piece of dialogue there that shows where he's at mentally. But then they go further with the later scene where he's having that dream sequence and seeing a young Rhaenyra, um,
Yeah.
sort of attempting to sew the head back onto Jacaerys,
Mhm.
the little boy
Do you
that Daemon is responsible for killing.
do you think that's Damon almost feeling inside of himself the conflict of he's the one who caused all these issues, and
Absolutely.
Rhaenyra's just there to fix his mistakes? Even when she was younger, she just was constantly trying to stand up for him and fix his mistakes that he made.
It's definitely kind of a representation of she's now responsible for
Yeah.
his mistakes. I don't know if that seems strange because he almost wakes up by the werewood tree.
Yeah.
That didn't seem on purpose.
I know a lot of these characters have a lot of backstory, and we kind of feel what they're thinking, feeling,
Mhm,
and kind of have the inner dialogue. But I feel like between the first season and this season, so far, Damon has been the best for we see his conflict. We see what he wants
mhm,
and where he's going, but we feel it. Even the first season when he picks up the crown and puts it back on his brother's head. And
mhm.
that whole scene was such a touching moment.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing that a little bit in the second season to where Damon has such a big backstory, and it's very much there's conflict there, and it's interesting. I like
Yeah,
his character.
like, what is he going to decide? Who is he gonna be?
Yeah.
And now based on what that strange woman said to him, that you're gonna die here in this
Yeah.
place, and it's scary, especially with it, the reputation of Harrenhal. And we also got a little bit of backstory with Rhaenyra sending off Rhaena
Yeah.
to Pentos,
And the
and
eggs.
she sends the eggs with her, which there's 4 of them, but I believe that
Mhm.
they're letting us know that they're Daenerys's eggs.
Daenerys Targaryen, yeah.
And that's how
200
they
years
get
from now.
over into the other continent.
I guess that means we won't see any more eggs hatching.
Do you think that there is a 4th egg? Do you think that that's something that they want to bring into play with other shows
So
maybe later? You think that the 4th egg is a another dragon that if they decide to do a show that takes place after Game of Thrones,
the 4th egg,
that the
maybe,
4th egg could be something important?
maybe. I mean, they're already talking about aren't they talking about Duncan the Tall or
Yeah, but that happens there's no
isn't it
dragons by that point.
No? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do with it. Maybe they'll this egg will hatch in this show just later on, and then we still have 3 that's left.
Could be.
Is there anything else that we didn't really cover? I guess
Kristen Cole.
Kristen Cole, yeah, new haircut. New
New
hair
haircut for Kristen Cole, being accompanied by Alicent's brother
Yeah.
on this
And you
mission to rally troops and hold take Harrenhal,
Yeah.
basically.
You pointed out so I haven't read the books. You read not this book, but you read the Game of Thrones books,
Mhm.
and you pointed out the instead of the pin that he has, the Hand of the King, he's got the necklace that is
Yeah,
very
it's they've
traditional with
made it essentially a piece of his armor,
Yeah.
but it's a good reference to the books, the fact that originally it was a necklace that the Hand of the King wore, and what Tyrion used to murder the I forget the name of the prostitute that he was with
Mhm.
in the show, right before he kills his father on the toilet.
Oh,
In the
is that when he
show
kills her?
in the show, he gifted her, a necklace, right?
Yeah.
Which is what he uses in the show.
Oh, but it's the
In the book, it was the hand
that's
necklace.
that's interesting. That's interesting.
Another big thing that I think was very important was Larys Strong's words to Aegon about, people thinking that saying that there's some people that think that, he's going off to conquer, and there's some people that think that he's, leaving the castle in the hands of his mother and his brother. And so Sir Larry, or I don't know if he's Sir, but Larry Strong, sowing doubt in the king's mind as to the plans of
Mhm.
his family, and securing himself the seat of Master of Whispers as well.
Yeah. Which,
Good stuff.
is interesting. I mentioned it, I was like, "Isn't it supposed to be the guy who is Master Whispers, nobody knows because he
Yeah,
has
you
the
you
secret?"
would you would think that you'd want your spy master to be kind of a
Yeah.
secret.
Let's talk about the last scene with Rhaenyra,
Yeah,
and let's go ahead and talk about that because that's kind of the main
the crux of the
the crux,
episode,
the head of this
the
episode,
point.
the spear, the
Mhm.
edge of the spear, if you wanna say that. Rhaenyra comes and meets with her in the what do you call that place? I just call it the church.
It's the
Yeah.
Sept of Baelor.
Yeah, the
Um,
sept,
so
and lights the candle and stuff.
yeah, so she's dressed as a nun, as a
Mhm.
septa, and meets with, Alicent at the candles and has a conversation, and strangely enough, first things first, pulls a knife on her,
Yeah, and
which
then
I
says,
thought was
"You
an
made a
odd
mistake by
decision,
pulling that knife."
but it caused some tension between the 2. They're both, like, scared here in this moment, and they have this conversation. um, Rhaenyra mentions, like, clearly all of these lords have grown up,
Mhm,
in times of peace, and they've fought at tourneys. They want the battle. They want the
mhm.
war. They want the glory. This is what they've been waiting for basically their whole lives, and she feels that she doesn't want the war,
Yeah,
and that Alicent doesn't, and then it tries to get some clarity here with what her father said at the end.
yeah, and it's clear they
Yeah.
figure it out, like, it's clearly Rhaenyra that is supposed to be the ruler, but she still doesn't care.
Oh,
The
it's great the way that they delivered it, because she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, he told you about the Song of Ice and Fire," and Allison's like, No, I don't know what that is," and she's like, "It's a story about Aegon the Conqueror,"
Yeah,
and then Alicent, uh, in the delivery for her line is good. She says, "The Conqueror," like stutters a little bit, and you can see, both of them, very great performances from
mm,
both of them. Alicent, you can see the mistake.
yeah,
That she declared her son the king by the word of the dying king, based on a story. And
mhm,
then Rhaenyra knowing that even in the end, he meant for her to be crowned as the queen, because he told her the story. He said, "It's your duty to make sure that, um, to protect the realm." So I think what we're moving towards here, and I think what we've established, especially with Rhaenyra, is that she knows now. She was kind of hesitant to make moves in this episode. Her counselors are saying, "Move, act, commit." Right? Even maybe leave. Maybe secret yourself away, and we will take care of this. And
Yeah.
Rhaenyra, I think now is going to act more boldly now that she knows that she is the rightful ruler.
Yeah, this episode kind of was Rhaenyra's not doing anything. She wants clarity, and then at the
Mhm.
end of the episode, she got her clarity that she wanted, and it's clear that she's supposed to be the ruler, the queen. So there's going to be a war now.
And
There's
Alicent
clearly going to be
cannot
something.
she cannot admit she was wrong. So
Yeah,
she is going to, I think, move wholeheartedly into, we have to win. We have to.
yeah.
So, what would you give this episode? Kind of, 1 out of 10.
I'm going to give it a 7. I feel like there was moments of they tried to show us a lot of everybody. So I think that was a little bit I'm gonna bring it down one notch for that because
Mm.
they showed us a little too much in this episode. Like they're trying to show us Damon, they're trying to show us Rhaenyra, they're trying to show us all these characters, and it was a lot to put in this episode. So I'm gonna give it a 7 instead of an 8. But I
I
think
would probably I would comfortably give it a 7. I feel like the brothel scene brings it down a little bit for me
yeah,
just because it was
yes,
it was, I think, needlessly graphic. I'm gonna give it a 6 because of that.
yeah. They could have
Even
cut out that scene too.
though it is sort of poignant, Aemon, standing up and walking out, getting some full frontal. Um, yeah, just a little bit graphic on that, even though it characterizes him and it characterizes the king a little bit.
I don't
Uh,
I don't wanna kinda linger on this too much, but they could have given us a scene where the king realizes maybe he tells the king, his brother, he's like, "They were coming to kill me and not your son," and he kinda laughs him off or says, "I don't care, they killed my son," and not even caring for his brother, and that they were trying to kill him, and
I'm
that
I'm
would be where the conflict is, not
I'm waiting for that. Because
yeah,
I think that's still in play.
yeah,
I actually think that's still in play because we know that Aemond is aware that they were in his chambers.
yeah,
So
and they were
I
trying to
think
kill
that's
him.
something that we can expect to see in the future. But tell us what you guys think
Mhm.
down in the comments. Did you like this episode? Um, are you looking forward to the next one? Well, we'll see you next week when we watch episode 4.